Modern versus vintage. Which is better? Who knows? That's what we're here to discuss. So Tom,
to discuss these questions and more.
exactly. So Tom, you couldn't give a flying fuck about modern cards, could you? Why? We need to know why.
I think they turned a corner, right? I think at one point they went from being men and creating real cards to then turn to kids and making them look like animated 3D, plastic Play-Doh.
Yeah. I mean, they're aimed at kids, not for grown men.
Yeah, that's true. They are aimed at kids.
Not for grown men.
Yeah. What about the big kids that don't never grow up like me? But I couldn't give a fuck.
Yeah, you couldn't.
Heracross is not in the same league to me as I can't even name one. I can't even name one that's shit.
Well, no, I mean, the new. It's funny because they always say, the original is best, and in most cases that's true. Only exceptions I can think of is Terminator, because Terminator 2 is much better than Terminator 1. Anyway, the original Pokemon, from the first couple of generations, sorry, like Johto, Kanto, and that. They're the best. There's some really good Pokemon from I think it's Hoenn region, which is like Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald.
So I give that one a 3 pass.
Yeah, there's some really good Pokemon there, isn't there?
The Pokedex for me, the Pokemon world, ends at Jirachi.
So yeah, some of I think the number is something ridiculous, like 800 Pokemon now, and it's like some of them are really shit. Like there's some from the latest gen. There's one that's literally like a teacup. It's like Ghost Tea. It's like a ghost type. It's a teacup.
Great.
Yeah, but then you go back and you're like, hold on a minute. Ditto is just a pile of pink cum. Do you know what I mean? Grimer's just a bit of sewage with some eyes. Like, not all the designs are perfect.
Diglett,
exactly. It's like a little bellend coming out of the ground. It's like there's some really shit designs in that first gen. But
they're not shit, mate.
No, that's the thing. They're not, and I think that's where the nostalgia kicks in. Because to the kids today that are playing like Sword and Shield, Ghost Tea and bloody, I don't know, Skull Bunny might be their favourite. But I don't think anyone can deny the original. I would say Generation 1 and 2, are the best. Without a doubt. I don't think anyone can say they're not. So with the cards, I mean, they do a lot of the original Pokemon are in the latest sets. So Champion's Path that came out last week, there's a Charizard in that. There's a shiny Charizard, and that's going for, stupid money already. It's going for like £500-600 already.
They have to rely on the foundations, you see.
This is true. So what is the reason though that you don't really collect any modern cards?
So this comes down to it's not even like this comes down to just me really.
Yeah.
So I was really heavily connected from a child's point of view. Like I was really just into Pokemon cards as a kid, and the Pokemon games, especially when I didn't have a lot of things to do back then. Like the Game Boy was the thing that you did to pass the time, right?
My life.
So Emerald. I didn't have the Johto games until Soul Silver, which was obviously the remake of the Johto games. But things like I spent most of my time on Emerald. I didn't have the first few Pokemon games either. I had a Game Boy Advance, but I had Turok on it, which is like a lizard killing game. But I had so Soul Silver and Emerald was the first real touch of Pokemon gaming.
Okay.
And so that's why I give Gen 3 a bit of a pass. But for me, it's all about the cards I grew up with. The anime, when it comes to the Johto, I suppose, is better. It's in my head, so I'll have that. But
yeah, that's fair.
It just comes down to the cards I'm connected to. And essentially, the game, number 3, the game, that's where it ends. Because I stopped after that. And you're talking about a gap of maybe 20 years. So obviously 1996 was when we was in school playing around trading and these things, and fast forward to now, there was a 20-year gap between when I finished to literally when we started looking again, really, if I'm being honest. So it's a long time to be out of Pokemon.
This is it. I mean, I started to get back into them again for the whole nostalgia thing with Pokemon kicked off for me in terms of the cards, maybe about 18 months ago. And I think one of the first sets I started looking at was Evolutions. So Evolutions, I think it's 4 years old now, but that's still a modern set. It's classed as a modern set. And the only thing I don't like about modern sets is that, back in the day when you opened the booster pack and it had a holo at the back, it was like, shit.
Had a holo, had a nice smell to it.
But that holo was special.
Of course, it meant
like,
something.
Oh shit, it's a holo. And now, the only problem is now you've got like V cards, VMAX cards, you've got secret rares, ultra rares, rainbow cards. Every single pack has got a reverse holo. So you might not get a holo, but you're always guaranteed a reverse holo. And the holos that you have got from most sets, they're 10 a penny now. It's like, for example, the set before Champions Path last month was Darkness Ablaze. And, for example, you could get a Suicune holo or a Blaziken holo. And that's worth, a quid. They're worth nothing. It's the VMAX and the V cards that are worth money. And it's just like, it takes some of the limelight and the specialness away from holos. Do you know what I mean? It sounds silly, but...
No, you're right. I mean, because back in the day, I don't think holo now means holo when we were kids, because holo, when you get a Gyarados out of an old base pack, base set Gyarados, whatever, that holo meant it was a fucking good card, like a holo. A holo was a special card, and you knew that as a kid. Even with Yu-Gi-Oh, a holo meant special card, right? Now, holo doesn't mean special card. It just means like I don't get reverse holos. I'll be honest about that. Like, a Poliwag, again, on reverse holo, what does that mean? That means nothing to me. Like, I could not give a fuck about Poliwag. Like, I mean, also reverse holo, that means fuck all to me in my mind. It's the card has to be legit, and the card has to be, it's the monster that's lit up. I don't want the edges lit up. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. So for sure. So I've said to myself, I'm going to focus on vintage stuff for now, because I've collected Evolutions, I collected some of the XY sets, I collected Rebel Clash, Sword and Shield base, Darkness Ablaze, and now I'm stopping. I'm not bothering with Champions Path, and it's just honestly, I've not got that same connection to it that I've got to the vintage stuff.
Well, this is literally hit the nail on the head for me, what you just said there, your statement, because that's spot on how I feel. I have no connection with it.
But they say collect what you love, don't they?
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I love the old stuff.
Yeah, it's the same for me. I mean, I'm still going to enter these box breaks with Mitch, our box den, and I still do that, and I might get the odd booster pack, but I'm not really going to make an effort to collect the modern sets now. No. It's just, they've not got that same appeal, that same wow factor, and...
Well, this is what we spoke about with the new Yu-Gi-Oh set, Ra's Revenge, I think it's called, or the Revenge of Ra or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's basically based on the Merrick, obviously his deck and stuff, and in the anime back in the day, there was like a slime Obelisk the Tormentor which he used, and they're in the sets and stuff. But for that exact reason that you just said, like, I'm not going to get involved in it, because like for me, Yu-Gi-Oh is done and dusted. Like, I love the cards I love the cards to a point. Like, don't get me wrong, if I didn't collect Pokemon, I'm sure as hell I'd collect Yu-Gi-Oh, and but I can only dedicate myself to one. I've only got one bank account. But so it's the same sort of thing. I collect what I love, and it would be like the first two series of cards, I guess. Same with Pokemon, really, because where's it end? It never ends. Then if you're into modern sets, the goal never ends. If you collect Pokemon now, you never get away from it, because not like you have to get away from it, but I'm saying you're forever chasing the next set, the next batch, the next holo, wherever it is.
I mean, part of that is fun, because that's the whole beauty of collecting, isn't it? Part of that is, it's exciting, the new set's coming out and onto the next bunch of cards. But then from the other point of that, yeah, it's true what you say, is when does it stop? But then I guess it doesn't. That's the idea. And they keep churning out new cards.
Yeah.
And
I mean, part of me does think that, the base set and the jungle and fossil, they were classed as modern at one point. So all these things age, and depending on how they age, will determine whether they sort of are desirable.
That's an interesting point. So there's some, for example, there's some modern sets. Some have done terribly. So there's a set called Steam Siege.
Steam shit.
Steam Siege. A set called Steam Siege, which anyone that's listening to this that knows about modern Pokemon cards will know Steam Siege is like the number one shittest set. It's the most undesirable set, and the booster boxes for that, and now they go for less than what they were originally. It's like no one wants it.
I wonder if that will turn ahead though.
I don't think it ever will. And the reason for that is because first of all, the print lines were shit. So centre end's terrible, the edge end's terrible, Hollows had loads of print lines on. But the actual lineup of cards, most sets have got that one desirable card. So like
Charizard, probably.
Like Gym Challenge, you got Blaine's Charizard,
oh yeah.
Yeah, so you go to Team Rocket, you've got Dark Charizard. The chase cards is usually a Charizard or a Blastoise or a Mewtwo, something big like that. But this Steam Siege has got no desirable cards. So that's a modern set that's doing shit. On the other hand, there's a set that came out last year, Hidden Fates. That is one of the most desirable sets at the minute. It's so expensive. So the tins that have three booster packs, they go for 50, 60 quid now, and that's a modern set. Another modern set called Burning Shadows. There's some big chase cards in that. There's a Ho-Oh and a Charizard that are the main chase cards in that. Again, those packs are quite expensive now. They've got quadrupled in value. But this Hidden Fates is so popular, they've done a reprint that come out this month. So they actually reprinted the cards.
Really?
There's such a high demand for it, yeah. That's had a reprint now.
Jesus.
So it's funny, I think the sets that have the big chase cards tend to be more popular. It's why I think Fossil and Jungle, I think the reason they're so underpriced in relation to base set is obviously firstly because base set has got the big chase cards like Charizard, Blastoise, but also Rocket and Fossil and Jungle, they haven't really got the big chase cards. Like there's not a Charizard. Yeah, they've got the legendary birds, but who gives a fuck about a Moltres?
Well, I'll tell you what, mate. I actually fucking love Moltres.
Oh no, yeah, it's quality. It's one of the it's one of the original legendary birds. Yeah. I think it's quality, but to the masses, it's not a massively loved Pokemon. It's not like I'd say like Lugia, for example. Lugia is much more loved by the fans than an Articuno. To me, I prefer Articuno, but that's because I'm an old bastard.
I think. See, I think quite differently to that. When it comes to like the first generation, and I've said this before, like an Articuno has the same value to me as the Charmander or the Tangler or the Weedle and stuff like.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, it wasn't really when I was a kid. I wasn't thinking of chase cards. I was just thinking of cards.
Yeah.
And like, and obviously like. There's nothing like that feeling when you get that holo as a kid because it's out of your hands. Like you bought one pack of 11 cards. Your parents were generous enough to buy it, and I'm talking about the general, like the royal we, like everyone, and you don't realise how lucky you are. Like, yeah, but that holo. That was a real treat. That was like, and it didn't even mean anything to you. You didn't look at the stamp first edition. You just
didn't
saw
care
the picture.
about what it was worth, did you? You cared about what it meant to you. Exactly.
Exactly. And that feeling's stayed with me for these first generations. That's why I think, for me, like I said, that Bulbasaur means the same as the Articuno, which means the same as the Mew or whatever.
No, I completely agree, mate. So do you remember the very first card you got at school when it first came out?
Yeah, I do. I was given it to by someone at school. I can't remember who.
Same as me.
I think I was in year 3. Year 3, year 2. I think year 3. And I was given a slightly ripped at the top corner, but it was like a Nidoran.
It's the same card as me.
The pink one.
Yeah.
And
the same as me. Exact same card.
And and I remember going back to my parents at the time, and I was like, "Can I have some Pokemon cards?" And I obviously asked them for it as a kid would, and because I started getting Pokemon cards and stuff. But I tell you what, I always remember the feeling of having that first one, which is why strangely I don't talk about that enough. Like Nidoran, it's not special to me, but it's weird. I know it's the very first Pokemon card I ever had.
How funny is that? I had the exact same card, same situation. Someone gave it to me at school, and it was a male pink Nidoran, and I remember that. And I remember going home. I need some of these. Mum, Dad, I need some of these.
Well, I think that's what happened. I think I did ask. I was like, can I have some Pokemon cards? And obviously, like, They had no idea that 20 years later they'd be worth fucking hundreds of thousands.
I was chatting to my dad yesterday about this, and I was showing him some of my older cards, and he was just like, he was saying, like, I remember buying you these. Like, this is stupid. Like, if we'd have known, we'd be millionaires now. It's always the way.
I kept some booster boxes in my cupboard. Here they are.
It's always the way. Can you imagine? Anyway, right. So, yeah. Tom, how do you rate your knowledge on vintage cards, the sets that you collect day in, day out? As the postman knows today, you had 100 parcels.
Very
today.
Good.
Very good. Okay, good.
Very good. Yeah.
And modern sets, you would say you don't really know much about.
Less than the percentage of 0.
Okay, right. So I prepared a mini quiz, 10 questions. So it's focused mainly on the vintage stuff, but there's a couple of modern ones in there.
Fuck me.
Okay. But I don't think they're too hard.
All right.
Right.
Well, this is where I get all the vintage ones wrong as well.
So you ready? You ready?
No, I do shit on quizzes.
Right. Question number 1. As we all know, obviously, base set was the first, edition of Pokemon cards that came out.
Yeah.
And there was an expansion. Do you know what that expansion was called? First of all, do you know what the first expansion was? The very first expansion to the base set.
From the base set.
Yeah. So obviously base set, which is the Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur, the first bunch of packs that came out. Every few months they release a new set. What was the first set after the base set? I'll give you a clue.
Jungle.
I'll give you a clue. It was Jungle or Fossil. Which one was it?
Yeah, Jungle. Yeah.
Correct, mate. Jungle came out in June the 16th, 1999, and Fossil came out on October the 8th, 1999. Of course,
there you go.
That's the wonder of Google. Next question. So the original base set, there are 102 cards.
Yeah.
Which card is number 2?
Sorry, so before I answer, are you doing the Pokédex number?
No, I'm doing the actual, so the order of the cards.
Fuck.
So there's 102 cards in base set.
Alakazam is number 1.
Oh yeah, and that's why I was going to ask number 1. I thought, no, that's Alakazam. So number 2. What's
number 2?
So it'll be 2 out of 102.
God, I've got to try and think of 102 Pokemon. I think of what number 2 would be. Alright, give me a sec.
I think it's the first 17 are all hollows. So 1 to 17 are all hollows.
Oh, number 2. Oh, I'm going to say Mewtwo.
It's Blastoise. Blastoise is number 2. No worries, mate. Moving on. 1 out of 2. Not bad. Question number 3. So I've mentioned a set to you quite a few times called XY Evolutions. So XY Evolutions is a reprint. What set is it a reprint of?
Oh, I don't fucking know.
You should know.
XY.
You should know, boy. Well, no, forget the XY. Just Evolutions. The full name is XY Evolutions, but just Evolutions.
Oh, hold on. It's the base, isn't it?
It is. It is, mate. 2 out of 3. Well done. Question number 4. What is the very last set that Wizards of the Coast produced?
Skyridge.
It was Skyridge. 2003. So you are 4 out of 5, mate. So not bad. Sorry, 3 out of 4. Question number 5. So there have been several sets released this year. What was the first set out of these 2 to be released? Was it Sword and Shield or was it Rebel Clash?
Rebel Clash.
So, unfortunately, Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield was released in line with the new games this year, which was February the 7th, and Rebel Clash came out in May. So it's like the first expansion to Sword and Shield. That's fine, mate. 4 out of 6. Not bad. Next question. How many different energy cards are in the base set? And can you name them all?
Can I name them all?
For an extra point.
Fighting, Psychic, Thunder, Grass, Water, Fire, Electric, Normal. Is Normal 1? I'm going to go with 8.
So there are 7. And they are Water, Psychic, Electric, Grass, Fire, Fighting. And then it's called double colourless, but Normal, I'll give you Normal.
Which one did I add in then?
You said Lightning and Electric.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You went Lightning, Electric.
Oh, right.
No,
well, no.
You know, I'll give you that. I'll give you that one, mate. Next question. Out of the first few sets released by Wizards of the Coast, there is a Nidoqueen holo card.
Yeah.
Which set does that belong to?
Jungle.
It's correct. So out of these same sets, there is a Hitmonlee.
Yeah.
Which set does Hitmonlee belong to? A holo Hitmonlee.
Base.
Fossil.
Does it?
Yeah, it belongs in a fossil set, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
No worries, mate. Moving on. So, as you know, there are several Neo sets.
Yeah, 4 of them.
There are. Do you know which of these sets has a holographic Heracross? So there's a Heracross in, I think, 3 of them, but only one of them has a holo Heracross.
Okay. It's not Revelations. It's the first one. Destiny.
It's Neo Genesis, I'm afraid.
Is it? Fuck!
It's alright, mate. Last question. So, including non-holos and holos, how many Houndooms are there in the Neo sets?
Fuck. Alright, let me... How many Houndooms?
So, out of the 4 main Neo sets, how many Houndooms are there, including holos and non-holos?
Alright, so... 1, 2, 3... You've got Dark Houndoom. You got the one you've got the holo one. You can have a holo and non-holo of the same card. And one of them.
Yeah.
So that's 4. I can't think of any more than that. I'm at 4.
Well done, mate. That was good. I'm impressed with that. Right? I'm impressed with that, yeah. So you got Dark Houndoom from Neo Destiny.
Yeah.
You got the holographic Houndoom from Neo Revelation. And then in Neo Discovery, you've got a holo Houndoom and then a non-holo Houndoom as well.
Yeah.
Well done, mate. You've done well. So that's 7 out of 10. Pretty good.
There's a few there I got wrong. The Heracross one annoyed me because I've been doing them recently.
That's pretty good though, mate. What was given? Heracross.
Energy cards was a bit...
No. I'll give you that one because you did name it all. It was just the Heracross, Fossil, Hitmonlee, and then the Rebel Clash Sword and Shield. 7 out of 10, mate. Not bad. Would you consider playing Sword and Shield?
No.
Because I know you spoke about it.
Yeah, I mean, if they said, "Oh, we've got a new game out," and at the end of the game you also go to the Kanto and Johto regions, then I'd be straight in there. But I don't. And plus, they've taken out, I believe, I don't know if this is true because I haven't played them, but I heard today. They taken out the national Pokédex, so you only have the Pokédex from that region, so you can't go hunting for a Bulbasaur and all that sort of stuff.
So they slowly
after you complete the game,
they've slowly been releasing them. So they didn't. There were only certain ones were available to begin with, and then in the first expansion, I think they've released more, and then in the latest expansion, there's more as well. So they're slowly adding to it. Some of the big ones are there, like Gyarados, Snorlax. I think like Bulbasaur, Charmander, all them are there, but I don't think there's some that aren't. Like Pidgey isn't there. I don't think like Rattata. There's some random ones.
Yeah, because what used to happen is that you complete the game, and all of a sudden these Pokemon would be generated in the same areas that you'd already explored, and it would up the sort of the Pokemon that you could find.
Yeah, they were. I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver were brilliant, weren't they?
Hard to beat that one.
Yeah, if they did a remake of that on the Switch, I'd say that would do so well.
Well, I'm hoping. Do you know what game I've always wanted? I've always wanted like a game which goes through each region. Like, I know it'd be fucking massive, and I know like I think you'd have to have a rule where you can only take Pokemon over from a certain region, or how many so many Pokemon from a first region or something like that.
So you mean like a true open world where you can go to anywhere?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be all the games, but like say the first 4 games, you'd go to the region as you remember as a kid, and because like, have they redone the Emerald and Sapphire ones?
Yeah, you got Alpha, Sapphire, and Omega Ruby on DS.
Oh right, okay.
The 3DS.
But that'd be good to have all them put together in one game. I'd buy that straight away.
That'd be quality. Yeah, 100%. 100%, mate. I think you're definitely not the first person to mention that. I think there's a big outcry for that. But you've got such a big following with the there's kids. I see kids now, like 4 or 5-year-old kids that are playing with the new Pokemon toys and stuff, like got Pokemon T-shirts on and all that, and all the new ones, which was our.
Do you think?
So go on.
Yeah, no, as I said, do you think they care about the old stuff?
I think they must do. I mean, I think even in the anime, there's still some of the older Pokemon there, obviously like Pikachu and that. So I guess they must do. It
must be hard for them to get their hands on these things.
Yeah, it's quite amazing that it's still going strong today. I mean, there's got to be a point when it ends, though. And when it ends, what do they do? Do they come up with a new franchise, or do they focus on, like rejuvenating the older ones?
I think they'd have to stop at one point, because almost 1,000 Pokemon is a bit silly.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, to be honest. And some of the, like I say, there's such a lack of quality in some of these new ones as well. And that's not even from it's better during the war. It was much better. Not like that. It's just some of them. You can tell on the last few generations, there's been some real stinkers.
Modern doesn't. Yes, and more doesn't mean better. More doesn't mean better. Sometimes you've just got to work with what you've got, And I don't. The one thing I really hate is these mega evolutions, or whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
I hate all that. Like, a Charizard didn't need to be more than it was. It was perfect. And all these things, and it's just like, for me, it's just like stupid. These like supersized fucking Pokemon, and I just don't care. I'm just like, these things were special to begin with. Making them massive and look terrifying and always super powerful, it doesn't make them any better. If anything, you're watering down what already exists. Like, that's my view on it anyway. Some people will disagree, obviously.
Yeah.
But I feel like work with what you got,
Yeah, I mean, I do quite like a Mega Charizard looks quite cool, but I get what you're saying completely. I completely understand, to be honest, mate. I mean, at the minute, there are, I think it's 890 something Pokemon. So when does that end?
I can guarantee you the next set will have 110. Or 1,001 or something it'll finish on.
Where's it end though? That's the thing. I mean,
yes, I'm saying it doesn't. I don't think they'll milk it.
Cash cow. Yeah.
I mean, it is a massive franchise, and it makes millions and millions and millions of pounds. I mean, where do you stand at this vintage versus modern stuff?
I mean, yeah, I much prefer the vintage stuff for more reasons than just nostalgia. I can see the appeal of the modern stuff. I just think they should. Problem is, they have to eventually create new Pokemon, or it has to end, doesn't it? Really, because there's only so many reprints they can do of existing Pokemon. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean,
because it has to end at some point. I mean, surely they're going to stop making new Pokemon eventually. I think you're right. I think when they get to 1,000, they might call it a day.
Yeah, and they should just work with what they've got.
Mm.
I mean, does anyone remember Sun and Moon? Does anyone actually remember that game? Because I swear to God, that was like the next day. There was Sword and Shield. I swear to God that happened. Like, does anyone remember Black and White 2? No. Does anyone remember Black and White? Not really. Tell me, what the fuck are you doing?
I only thing I remember from Black and White, I really liked Excadrill and Haxorus.
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it? You think about that. Like, what happened to Black and White 2? That was an actual game. Like, 2 games came out for that.
From the last few generations, there's a lot you can. There's only a handful, I think, that I would want to keep.
Diamond and Platinum.
Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, I really like them. I really, really enjoyed them, and they introduced the whole evolutions as well. So you had like Glaceon and Iceon, and that's quite cool.
Pokemon shit and piss.
Jesus Christ.
Right, we can probably guess the next title. It's 2 things in it: Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield. We can probably. I reckon if a few goes, we'd get the title of the next one.
Mars and Venus.
Yeah, something like that. Literally, it'd be something like that. I don't know.
So this has been Modern versus Vintage. What do you prefer? Let us know down below, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.